Hi, this is Nampung and this is my presentation 2 for Digital Design. So to recap, my client is Miss Trish and she wants us to make a video to inform people about the NIST values. Her goal is to make NIST a kinder, more supportive place and to highlight the values within the community. She wants the video to be targeted to secondary students and she wants them to be shown on TVs around school and in some assemblies. She also wants the video to be around 3 minutes. So the specifications that I've come up with are that 1, it must show all the NIST values, and each of the values should be around 30 seconds so that it can be informative but not too long. 2, the video should not be too long, over 3 minutes, or the audience can get bored. 3, it must include subtitles and they should be easy to read because it could be on TVs. 4, the video should include at least 3 types of camera movement, for example panning, zooming, close-ups, so that it isn't repetitive, as well as because each type of movement can help show something different. 5, it should be mainly targeted to secondary students and should captivate them. And lastly, it should include new and varying transitions that don't scream iMovie because iMovie can be boring and quite easy to spot. So the storyboard briefly starts off with the title and goes into what the NIST values are, which features 4 different students alternating in saying one of each value, as well as Ms. Trish briefly explaining what it is. Then it goes into why they're important, which is Ms. Trish speaking over some B-roll. Each of the values, caring, integrity, community, and growth, all feature interviews of what they think each one means, with B-roll of some examples or acted scenes, followed by the definition in typewriter text. It goes into what can you do, which is interviews of staff talking about how NIST could be better in terms of values, and over B-roll. It goes into a final quote written in typewriter of what Ms. Trish told us off camera. Then lastly, the credits. I didn't do much for primary research because most of it was done before presentation 1, but did test out different ways to reveal a title without making it look like iMovie. In the beginning, I tried to literally add each letter in iMovie one by one, but it made it look like it was flashing, so then I worked out the green screen as well as tried typing and screen recording it in slides. So here I used the screen recording thing many times in the final video. With the secondary research, it was mostly about enhancing my videos since the basics were pretty much down, so I looked at green screen transitions and overlays as well as made sure how to do it. So here's an example of how I used it in my video. I also tried to look for any vlog music that was non-copyright, which I found, but it didn't fit as well with my video, so I used another song that I was listening to instead. I think that only small bits of my idea developed, but other than that, most of the things were kept the same. So to begin with, I had a few ideas for footage to get, for example, interviewing people about if they were nice today or getting B-roll of the flags at the front of the school, but I never ended up filming that. So another thing was that in the beginning my subtitles were like the ones on the right, which was slightly hard to see, but then Mr. Jesse suggested for me to add a border and make it a bit bigger so that it was clearer to read from afar. So in the beginning I didn't plan to use any green screen effects until I realized that some transitions should be used to make the video less boring, and also that the beginning title I had to use green screen to make it look like the typewriter effect. And finally, the actual typewriting. This was something I kind of discovered a little bit later because I was thinking of typing each letter out one by one, which was very inefficient, so I decided to just screen record me typing over the black screen. And here's my video.
They're the foundation on which all of the decisions are made. They're the things that we try to embed in the curriculum and make a part of what we think about as a community.
Integrity, caring, community, growth.
They're bigger than everything else we do at the school. Without them, NIST would just be like every other school, and it makes it a special and good place to be.
Caring is when you have to be nice to someone, like you help them out.
Caring can be shown through small acts of kindness, for example,
somebody who be your friend. Someone let me play. Get out of your phone! Sharing the food.
mistakes have integrity. It means that you're honest, even if there's no one to check you for being honest.
Not lying. Not lying.
Community is a group of people that come together and collaborate with each other to make something that can help everyone.
Whatever it may be, working with a big group or a small group, you are a community.
One person can show growth by learning from their mistakes and improving.
Showing that there's development in how they act and maybe how they treat other people.
Even the little things like learning to tie your shoelaces can show growth.
"ตีมีบ่อยๆ ถ้ารุ่นพี่รุ่นน้องได้มาจอยกัน
And I believe that we could all be more caring, and not just to the teachers or the people who are responsible, but for all the support staff and especially people like the helpers as well after school. Like, we need to treat everyone equally, and that starts with our community.
อย่างที่พี่เพนเคยประสบมาใช่ไหมมีอาการซึมเศร้าหรือว่าร้องไห้อยู่ เราก็จะเข้าไปถามเขาว่าแบบยูต้องการความช่วยเหลือไหมเหมือนมีใครคนหนึ่งเป็นห่วงเขา
This time I didn't use the timeline plan as much because I tried to finish everything and continue on the next topic immediately. When doing the slides, I highlighted the topics that I finished already so that I could keep track of what I had to do. Something that didn't go as planned was that product testing went later than planned because my video was done late, and I planned for it to finish on the 9th of May, but it finished much later, so it kind of slowed down the process, which meant that more work had to be done at home. For the changes, I didn't use Final Cut because my Mac wouldn't update, so I used iMovie because Final Cut wouldn't open. So this created a new specification, which was to not use overused transitions and to not use anything that screamed iMovie. I also didn't include an intro because it would be too long and was pretty much what are the NIST values and why they are important we're going to talk about. So for the ending, instead of adding Miss Trish speaking, I could add the typing text because there was already a lot of Miss Trish speaking, and I also couldn't find the footage of where she said it. When I tested the product, I sent out a survey to some kids in the year as well as sent an email to Miss Trish. So a challenge to this was that not all people replied, and Miss Trish didn't see my first email, which slowed down the process slightly. I asked if the subtitles were easy to read, if the transitions were new and varying, if they were able to see at least 3 different filming techniques, and if the video would keep the attention of secondary students. All of them were 100% yes, and I checked the times of the clips, and it showed that the video was 3 minutes 25, which was a bit over the limit, but the values were all 30 seconds or less. Miss Trish also said that the video was great and conveyed the message well. To conclude the product success, all of the specifications were fully achieved, except that all the footage was taken with a DSLR because the last few clips were actually filmed with little time, so I didn't bother to borrow a camera. Also, the one where the transitions were varied had some downfalls to it because the revealing of the text and subtitles were iMovie, even though it wasn't a big influence. As I said before, Mr. Jesse suggested for me to make the subtitles clearer, so I did. And since I didn't get any suggestions for improvements on the survey I did, I just thought of things that could be improved. The first one was that the video should definitely be shorter. However, there was a lot of key information in there, but I could shorten the end a bit and only add a few parts of the clips. However, that could make the video less meaningful. The second improvement is that the title could have been clearer, so I could have added a transparent box to the background to make the background stand out a bit less, or I could have added borders to the text. So if I had time, I would have improved them.